just is extraordinary insistence on shagging the goose that laid the golden egg here. I think is I just someone needs to have a word with them.
I tell you, Elliot Nathan's been in touch, and I like the cut of Elliot's jib because he says, I know it's 4 years away, but I don't understand why there isn't more outrage over a 48-team World Cup. I've just finished watching Poland v Argentina, and the Poland performance was as pathetic as those from Wales and Qatar. With so many poor teams in this World Cup, how does anyone think increasing it to 48 teams is a good idea? The whole group stage will be pointless, and yes, there will be a Group P. Now, there will still be drama, and there will still be good games, obviously, like that's just the nature of football, isn't it? But I completely agree with Elliot here. Like, it's too much, isn't it? 48 teams. Well, I think there are going to the worst teams we've seen at this World Cup. There are going to be teams significantly worse than them, but a number of teams significantly worse than them, and it is going to be. It might make it just a bit of a drag. You know, you don't want a tournament to feel like a chore. And it might drag into that.
Well, I think that's it. I think you've got to be careful, haven't you? Because I think there is a sweet spot with this stuff. With the Euros, a 16-team tournament, everyone thought, UK, we've increased it to that. If you increase it any more, it'll be to the detriment of the tournament. Now, I think the Euros kind of works with 24 teams. When it was 16 teams, it really was the cream of the crop, and every game was kind of box office.
I mean, the way it is now, literally half of Europe qualify for the Euros.
But then you have that. But I still think the Euros is a decent tournament, though. But purists like Lars there,
I just think it cheapens it a little bit.
Okay,
so I think just having this many teams,
fair.
It's meant to be hard to get there.
It is, but I mean, 48 teams
is meant to be a huge event for your country.
48 teams would be not far off a quarter of all the international teams in the world. And the worrying thing is, as we've seen with UEFA competitions at club level, is if you dilute it so much, people just, I don't switch on. You don't switch on until like the quarterfinals or something. Yeah. As we see with like the Europa League for a lot of people. I know some teams it's precious and all, and I don't want to sound all elitist, but there is a danger of that. And I think the other thing is, for me, is actually the practicalities of it, because you've got a lot of people saying about Qatar, oh, it's actually brilliant because the travelling distances are short. Well, okay, that in of itself is a plus point, I suppose. But actually having like a city-state almost host a World Cup, it's actually not a bad idea. Well, okay, but you've got 64 games going on. You're going to have at least 80. In fact, FIFA are now considering 12 groups of 4 teams because of how well the groups have gone in this competition and the drama. They think, I don't want to lose that. That would mean 104 matches at the tournament. Which is crazy. Now, that's okay if you've got a whole continent hosting it, which you do in 2026 with Canada, the US, and Mexico. All this bollocks about, actually, let's have it in a tiny little country who spend over 200 billion and all the other stuff that we know about it. It's crazy.
They won't be able to do that anymore.
Yeah, well, that should maybe not happen anyway. But the point is more like, there's almost no countries that can host it now.
Well, of course,
it's going to have to be these giant coalitions of countries.
Even after 2002, Japan and South Korea ended up with a lot of, white elephant stadiums. Those are economies that can swallow that, and even they have struggled with having any use for them. And so, I mean, it really, really limits the countries that can have it.
Morocco have bid for the World Cup a couple of times.
Nearly got it in 98.
I'd love a World Cup in Morocco. That'd be tremendous. Probably can't do it if it's going to be like 170 teams in there.
Well, exactly. It's gone. You just simply can't absorb all that kind of stuff. And also,
Colombia once almost hosted it.
They did.
Definitely can't be hosting it anytime soon. I mean, the size of the tournament.
They pulled out because there
were some shenanigans.
They were concerned, shall we say? But that was, I think, when it was.
But the point of principle is, like, mid-sized countries. I like the idea of having host countries that are not necessarily entire continents or like oil states.
Yeah.
But that won't be a thing. And also, I'm just like, I don't want to dig anyone up into maybe a more sort of different allocation of what continents teams come from in the World Cup. Maybe there are too many European teams in there. I don't know. Let's not get into that box, that can of worms. But I do think increasing the CONCACAF contingent from 3.5 to 6, possibly 7 teams. I'm just not sure 7 CONCACAF teams is what this tournament needs. Sorry, guys.
I know what you mean. And again, it does. People can accuse of being a bit sort of European and elitist there, but that's why I want to hammer home the practicalities. Actually,
but a lot of it is about the quality of the football, isn't it? I suppose the counter argument is that these nations will improve if they have an opportunity to get to a World Cup and learn from that tournament experience, and also have more of a sort of more of an achievable aim. But actually, the point that
but I think
Elliot
that's
makes is that some of these games are dreadful.
But I think that idea,
and that's only going to get worse.
I think that idea of a team qualifying for a tournament and inspiring a generation and so on, yes, that there is that. But actually, the bigger things, I think, is footballing history and so, but I think it's more the budget, the size of the population, all that kind of stuff massively comes into it, especially outside of Europe.
And the thing that FIFA
Qatar can only improve so much.
And the thing that FIFA clearly don't understand is that part of what gives the World Cup its power is the scarcity, right? It is the fact that it's only every fourth year.
Yeah.
It is the fact that for most nations, just being there is an achievement.
Yeah.
So you get scenes like Abubakar scoring the goal and then just taking the red card. He's like, I'm out of here. I've done my job. I've peaked now.
I've proved my point.
Yeah, but like that's why these last days have been so unbelievably tense. Because again, even the biggest names know that they only get a couple of shots at this. The smaller countries, they know they might never qualify again, and that makes everything so pressurized.
Yeah.
And FIFA, if it was up to them, they'll have more countries in. They do it once every 2 years. They want to do.
Well, that's why the FIFA Club World Cup. Yeah, they're bringing in all that bollocks.
We also
just this extraordinary insistence on shagging the goose that laid the golden egg here. I think is I just someone needs to have a word with them.
We also haven't even touched on the worst parts of this proposal, have we?
Yeah, well, you're talking about if they do 16 groups of 3 teams, they're exploring the idea of having a penalty shootout in the group stage games, where the winner earns a bonus point. And there was even talk about shootouts.
Leave it alone.
No, but get this. There was even talk about shootouts happening before games to avoid collusion in a post-game shoot. How many?
You started off.
I came here for a shootout. No, just one shootout. I wanted. Oh, blimey! We have a half-time one.
Just rubbish.
It's just
a rubbish idea.
But I think this is the point especially with football. It's like the rules of the game. They were so well thought out. It's just a little tweak here and there. The back pass rule years ago now. You bring that. Yes, that's quite nice. You see it with VAR and the offside laws. That you start meddling too much with stuff. It's all over the place.
And as long as with football fans, like we're all very hesitant about change. Like our spinal sort of reflexive reaction to all proposed changes are no, this is bad. But I don't understand how anyone can watch football this week at the World Cup and decide, this format is terrible. We must change this immediately. I was like, what are you on? Like,
I think the only argument is to give teams who would otherwise be very unlikely or never qualify the chance of qualifying. That's literally, and I understand I think that's admirable to explore that and so on. And who knows, maybe you do try a 48-team World Cup. It's unlikely that people row back on ideas.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, well, but they're going to find out the hard way when you can only have the US, China, and I don't know, hardly anybody who can host a bloody thing because there's so many games.
Special to qualify as well.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be hard. And I say that my country haven't been there for 2 decades. And that's just how it goes, because it's meant to be really hard to qualify. Like, you don't want to, you were at the World Cup. It's like, well, yes, of course you fucking are, because CONCACAF have got 7 slots. Of course you've qualified. Honduras.
Does it end with no qualification, straight knockout, every country in the world?
Names out of a hat.
No,
England are away to Samoa.
yeah.